Let's talk about something that is just profoundly painful when someone you care about just goes silent. It's called no contact. And when borderline personality disorder is part of the dynamic, that silence isn't just one story. It's two different stories of immense, and I mean immense, pain. Today, we're going to try and understand both sides. Think about that for a second. That really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? This isn't just someone not picking up the phone. For the people involved, it is a massive emotional event. It's so powerful, it feels like a scream that no one else can hear. So let's unpack that. Okay, first, we've got to step into the shoes of the person with BPD. For them, when someone goes no contact, it's not just a breakup or a fight. It can feel like a fundamental threat to their entire existence. I mean, just imagine this. What if a relationship felt like the very air you breathe? For someone with BPD, it can be that intense. Their self-worth, their identity, their sense of safety, it can all get so wrapped up in another person that the threat of losing them feels, quite literally, like you're suffocating. So, why is it so incredibly devastating? Well, it's like a domino effect. The silence doesn't just hurt right now, it rips open these deep, old wounds of rejection, maybe from way back in their past. This can trigger this terrifying identity crisis because, if so much of you is defined by the relationship, who are you when it's just gone? And the result is this massive internal storm, just waves of grief, anger, and this raw, unbearable emptiness that feels like your whole world is collapsing. But of course, that is only one half of the story. We have to flip the coin because there is another person in this dynamic. And for them, choosing to go silent, it's almost never about being cruel. It's usually a desperate act of survival. For the partner, the experience can feel like constant emotional whiplash. One moment you're in this incredibly intense, beautiful closeness, and the next, you're in this sudden, intense conflict. Living on that kind of emotional roller coaster is just completely draining. It can leave a person feeling confused, exhausted, and honestly, sometimes even unsafe. So why does silence start to feel like the only way out? Well, it pretty much boils down to self-protection. You're just trying to get off the ride and find some stable ground. And often, after trying over and over again to set limits that just don't stick, no contact can feel like the absolute last resort, the only way to make a boundary real. And ultimately, it's about getting the space you desperately need to heal and just process the sheer intensity of it all. And this brings us right to the heart of it all. It is so tempting to look for a villain here, right? To find the bad guy. But the truth is just so much more complicated than that. We have to try and move beyond this simple idea of right and wrong. And this, right here, is maybe the most important thing to get. This isn't a story about a perpetrator and a victim. It's a story of two people, each trapped in their own completely valid, completely real kind of suffering. Neither person is choosing this. Both are just reacting to their own pain. So here's the core dilemma, the tragedy of the whole situation. On one side, you have a person who feels utterly abandoned, like their very self is just dissolving into thin air. And on the other side, you have a person who feels so trapped that getting away feels like the only way they can survive. And the heartbreaking part, both of those feelings are real. Both are valid. So, if no contact is this kind of nuclear option born out of all this pain, are there other ways? Are there other paths? The answer is yes, but, they take a ton of effort and, more often than not, some professional help. When it's at all possible, there are healthier options. So instead of total silence, you have something called low contact, which is all about setting really strict, really clear boundaries. Clear communication, and this is key, without assigning blame, can also soften that feeling of abandonment. But really, the true cornerstone for real, lasting change is often therapy. For the person with BPD, something like DBT, dialectical behavior therapy, can be an absolute game changer, giving them the tools to handle intense emotions and build a stronger sense of self. All right, let's bring this all together. If we circle back to that idea from the beginning, that no contact is an internal scream, we can start to see that there are actually two screams happening at the very same time. For the person who has to go silent, that scream is a desperate gasp for air. It's the sound of someone who feels like they've been suffocating and is just trying to find some oxygen. And for the person with BPD, that scream is one of absolute terror. It's the feeling of being shoved underwater, having your oxygen supply, the relationship, just cut off. You see, both are just fighting to survive. And so that leaves us with this really essential, really difficult question. It's a challenge to all of us to move past blame and get to a place of real compassion. How can we possibly honor one person's absolute need for boundaries and safety, while also holding space for the profound agony that decision causes someone else? Finding the answer to that, well, that's where the real understanding begins.